Hey guys, welcome to today's With Friends episode. I am so excited. I've got my new friend here, Christina Blincoe. We are going to become authors this week. And so we are so excited to just take you through that journey with us. I'm welcoming to the stage, Christina. Hey, Christina, thank you so much for being here today.
So I'm so excited to be here. We met just a couple weeks ago and we were at a speaking retreat and we didn't even know we were going to be in the same book.
I know.
It was just blown away. So I'm Christina Blincoe. I am a child of God first and foremost. I'm chosen by him and held by his grace for the last 50 years. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today and share a little bit about our book.
Oh, I'm so excited too. I know, like you were saying, it was absolutely crazy. There we are sitting in the same room. We've actually at this point, I think we had spent a day and a half, maybe even together before it clicked for us because we were so at this, this development retreat. We were so immersed in why we were there and really just giving that our full attention. And then it wasn't until like a day and a half later that we were like, wait a second, you
You're in the anthology? Wait a minute. I'm in the anthology.
It was so beautiful. It was beautiful. So, okay. So we are talking, like I said, all things today about what each of our author journeys looked like. So we are so blessed and we are so called to be in the Joyful Entrepreneur. This is volume 3, and it is all about combating myths across business. And so, Christina, maybe we even start there. Let's talk about how each of us got connected with the Fit in Press publishing team. Amazing, by the way. How did you first get connected with them?
So I met Tamara at through a call with Flow Academy. A bunch of women on a call. We learned from her that day about business, and I just felt like her energy and her love for Christ was something that was contagious, and I wanted more of it, and I wanted to be like that, and I knew I had it inside of me, but I just hadn't been doing that in my own life, just because of life gets in the way. And so I was just so immersed with everything. I joined her community. I was on the FounderCon calls. I was like, I'm all in. I jumped all in. And so that's how I was first introduced to Tamara. And what about you?
Yeah, so it was at an event. It was at a Powerhouse Women's Conference, and this was actually 2 years ago before Tamara and I would really start our relationship. Had met her. We had this beautiful conversation. It was maybe all of 15 minutes, and shared her story. I shared my story, and it was kind of just like all right, fist pump, go crush the world, and we went our separate ways. Until a year later, about a year later, when I quit my job, she was actually one of the first people to reach out. And she was like, "You were so made for more." And I had zero intention originally of like trying to you jump into any community, and it really was one of those things where the more I sat in silence after leaving. I had a couple different signs, and I absolutely do believe in signs and God trying to wake us up and say, hey, pay attention here. And there were a couple different things where Tamara showed up, and it was like, I just need to reach out to this chick. And so sure enough, I reach out to her. That energy that you talk about, just the chemistry was there. She's so electrifying. Anybody who has ever had the opportunity to meet Tamara Andres, really, truly just a beautiful soul. And before we know it, I'm telling her my story, and she's like, Britt, you have to write a chapter. You have to share this message out in the world. And I actually have the like potentially a perfect vessel for you to do that. And it was over a week time period that I spoke with several members of the team. And it was like, oh my goodness, I'm doing this. Okay. But before you met Tamara, I have to know too, like, had you ever had aspirations of becoming an author, or like, how do you because I think there has to be some like level of intentionality when you commit to, you're going to put your story down, you're going to write words, you're going to commit to doing something like this. Like that's gotta be coming from somewhere, something, right?
Yes, yes. So I had been writing since I was a little girl. I would write Christian songs that no one would hear. I would write in my journal. It was my way to connect with God, and He spoke to me through Christian music. And so that's how I heard Him. I would do a lot of quiet times, and I would hear music, and He was just speaking to me. But I had some health issues last year, and wasn't able to finish the Flow Academy program, and I just started writing my own solo book when I had that time at home. And when I talked to Tamara about it, she's like, "Let's do it. Let's do your solo book." And I was like, "Well, I don't know if I'm ready to put all of this out there in the world. I might need a little bit of a touch my toe into the water kind of situation."
Uh-huh.
And she's an all in kind of girl, but I don't take a lot of risks with that kind of stuff. So I said I will be a part of the anthology book, and God wrote this story, this chapter. And being something that I was struggling with was just having control over my life. Everybody was telling me that your success is because of what you make it. It's how much work you put into it. It's what other people say about you. That control that we actually have, or we think we have over our destiny and our success is such a lie. And so that's what I'm writing about, is the need for control, or that we do have control, and we have that
Yeah.
grip on our life, and even our family, our friends, everything. We have to give that over to God, to really feel at peace and joy in our life. So, yeah, that's the myth I'm busting.
Oh,
So, and I
so
read the
good.
chapter often as myself when I see myself getting back into that. Like, what are the details? What are we doing? It's like it's a constant reminder for me. If nobody else gets anything out of this, but I'm sure they will, because I've been able to share this with my kids. I've been able to witness to them through this chapter, which has been a wonderful, wonderful thing for my family.
Oh, it's so good. I love how you said, God wrote the chapter. Like God wrote the story to begin with, but then God wrote the chapter. I have my answer to this question, but I want to know your answer first. When you say like God wrote the chapter, what did that actually look like, feel like as the words were coming out onto the page?
So one of the things that was missing is my prayer life was always there. It was always something that I just prayed through songs and said, take this or whatever. But it was really getting back into the Word. And so how God has a perfect plan. The book is also about our sword, or our armor, right?
Mhm.
And so being able to go right back to the Word and say, what do you say about me? What do you say about control? What do you say, to the disciples when they were, maybe acting a little bit like we do, right? And so it was interesting to have that parallel, and that, getting back in the Word. I started with Matthew, and then Mark, Luke, and John, and just going through that and getting centered first and foremost on His Word just made it all come together. And the verses were coming to me, and everything was just falling into place. And so I really, it's His reminder to me,
Oh, I
as I
love
read.
that. I love that. Yeah, so true. It's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I love to just hearing, right, like how important it is that everything starts with truth. And so the fact that that's just that reminder that that's exactly where you went, and that's exactly where you found everything you needed, and then that's what poured out. So beautiful. Thank you for that. I would say in a lot of ways similar. I i had never, so this was the first time writing, this was first time writing for me, where I was actually quoting biblical scripture, and I was so shocked at first, the amount of, I'm going to say it, I know it's a buzzword, but like imposter syndrome
Oh
that
yeah.
pumped through, like as I'm typing or as I'm who, like, am I even worthy to be quoting biblical verses? And you're like, well, wait a second, did I even do it right? I mean, I even went to the editor actually, and I had to be like, listen, we all have our strengths. I ain't never done this before. Yeah, I ain't never done this before. Like, I mean, I learned so much. But then also, it was such a beautiful time, and I don't think I'll ever forget it. I know I won't. It's such a beautiful time in my spiritual journey too, to grow in ways I didn't realize how powerful that could be. And so for me, I had come in, I think it was literally, there were like 2 weeks left before all authors had to have their submissions in. So I signed the contract with Fit. Yeah, with 2 weeks left. And she was like, okay, love that you're here. Need this like now. And you're like, oh my gosh. Which also too, right? Divinely orchestrated, because who knows how long I would have procrastinated and sat on it feeling like I wasn't worthy. Right. And instead I had to get it done. And so, yeah, I sat down and I remember putting it on my calendar. It was like for a week. I had 0 other obligations, responsibilities. It was like the husband needed to take care of everything else because I had to sit down. I had to get this chapter done. And it felt like the words just poured out like this overflowing, overwhelming just sense of knowing that it was exactly as it was supposed to. And I will actually tell you that I read through it once and then I held myself accountable to not reading through it again. And I sent it off because, again, knowing myself, right? You have to know yourself. I knew that the control that you're talking about, I would have tried to control every single word, tried to control, how could this be perceived, or did I communicate this in a way as intended? Like, I could have asked myself 100 million questions and sat there for an additional 2 weeks, but I just read it. And then when we were going through editing and she was asking us to reread our chapters, Christina, I did not. I couldn't. I don't, how weird is that to say? I couldn't. I just knew that whatever had been put,
the whole thing probably.
I would have, the whole entire thing. I just knew that I was supposed to it had already been sent. It had already been given as the gift. It had already been, and I needed to be okay with that. And so that was yet another just part of this journey that I had no idea was going to be a part of it.
Letting go. Yeah.
That's letting go. Okay, so I want to hear, you've got me on the edge of my seat. I want to hear, because we haven't seen each other's chapters yet. No. Would you share with us a little bit? Would you actually read maybe a paragraph out of your chapter?
Sure.
Yes.
They're right here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
So like I said, the lie that we're busting is that you are in control of your life. And so the world tells us that our success in life is directly related to the hard work, grit, and dedication we put in. We are told to control our lives and the resulting outcomes. But what would happen if we let go of our need for control and let go of our grip? Would everything fall apart, or would God teach us how to lean on what He has called us to be? And so I want to say, I welcome you, Business and Faith. This is your Business and Faith playbook for joyful entrepreneurs, which we both are, and thought leaders, faith-filled messengers. Are you tired of doing it your way? And are you ready to change the way you approach business and learn how God can help develop the gifts He has given you?
So good. So good. Everything inside me just wants to yes, like the war cry. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful. Are you so proud? Are you so proud of yourself? I hope so.
I am proud for following His lead, because it's hard. It's hard to say, family, I'm going to do this. It's hard to make the commitment to travel. It's hard to get your name out there or get the book out there and represent the rest of the authors. But, I just keep showing up for Him. What do you want me to do? I keep asking Him, what do you want me to do? And I think that's what's been the best part of this for me, is such a healing opportunity to be closer to Him. So
A healing opportunity you were looking for, or one that found you,
It
or
found me.
both? It
Yeah.
found you. Yeah, mine found me too. Didn't even realize I was in need of it. Yeah, so beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh my
especially with
goodness, I love
you.
it.
Yeah, let's hear yours.
Okay, all right. So mine. So this was something I was like, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to actually read my chapter. So everybody, update. In the last week, I have finally reread my chapter, and it's so cool. It is so cool, Christina. We are going to be published authors by the end of the week. It's nuts.
Not
It's
with.
nuts. Okay, so mine, the and I don't even know, because it, right, like the whole thing feels like it has to come together here. But okay, so the little part of my chapter. So it says, he was tugging on my heart, telling me that I was meant for more. I was created to thrive, not just survive. But how did I get here? Just moving through life on autopilot. Like many, I had been programmed to persevere. Persevere when things get tough. Persevere through the hurt. Persevere through the doubt. Persevere through the exhaustion, and persevere through the grief. Even as bouncing baby boys and girls, we go from standing to taking our first steps, and our overjoyed parents start preaching to us, good job, just one more step, just one more. We're encouraged to keep going, to take just one more step, and to never quit. Before we know it, we're walking and running like pros. But when are we ever urged to quit walking, or taught how to sit and be present in the stillness? Isaiah 30 says, in repentance and rest is your salvation, and quietness and trust is your strength. There is indeed a time and place for everything.
I love that so much.
So cool. Yeah, it's been a journey. And then too, to think, right? Um, when when I showed up for the book, it was just because I felt like this was something I was supposed to show up for. I had, like, all my life, so many people have told me, and I've joked about it, because I've always loved writing too. My husband always jokes, he's like, you should put that in a book. You should put that in a book. You should put that in a book. I got 100 things I should put, a gazillion things I should put in a book. And then this opportunity presented like itself, and so it was so neat to show up, and then now to think about how many additional doors it's opened for us, like what we said, like then we all of a sudden find ourselves at this speakers opportunity, and then we find each other. Oh, so much love
Yes.
for you. Then we find each other now. Goodness, what's our next thing? So now at FounderCon, this is a
Yes.
huge virtual event that's coming up. This is going to be on the 7th of November. So here, if you guys have not gotten your tickets, go to foundercon.com. You can still register. So it's entirely virtual. There's an incredible lineup of speakers, including yours truly, right? Yes, we are. So we're going to be hosting part of the afternoon session. And what are your just general thoughts? What are you excited for that event?
I think the people that are in the room, you know, I'm terrified of doing anything speaking or podcast. This is only my second podcast as a guest. But hey, I am here and I showed up and I'm not scripted. Okay.
You're doing great.
But I think when we focus on the people that are there and in the room, God takes care of all the rest. You know,
Yeah.
He knows who He's speaking to. He's just using us as a vessel for that message. So I just love that. And I'm praying for all the people that show up in the room.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely wonderful. I'm so excited for just the way that those rooms and those type of conferences, like when people show up for themselves and when they show up for the right reasons because he's called you there, the way that just the energy can pulsate through even the computers, and you could just feel the vibrations of this whole planet just rising, and it feels so good. So I feel so lucky that you and I get to host a breakout room together.
Yes.
That again, like just divine connection and what's the word, like orchestration, even too. Yeah, I'm excited for that. Anything anything over the next week. So how about this? This is again kind of this is all unscripted for us. So I don't know, I might be touching some bears here. We're just going to see how this goes. So originally the book was actually supposed to be released on election day. And that was something that was prayed over. And that was, I believe that is still the plan. However, there may or may not be an additional 24-hour delay. So just when you look at the week ahead, we've got a lot of stuff. So we've got election day. It's a huge day in our country. We've got the book release coming out. We've got the Founder Con event. Like, where's your brain going on how you're managing all of this over the next week?
Well, I'm reading my chapter over and over.
Yes.
It is just full of so many good things. I can't wait for you guys to read it. But I think, also grounding myself with my family, we each believe what we believe, but I know that God's already in control of what's going to happen to our nation. And I know that I'm not even worried about. He's already got a plan for that.
Yep.
And I'm just excited. I'm excited for this new chapter in our life to be authors and what that means for us to continue to share his message with others. So it's just a huge way to have a new platform to touch people's lives. So
yes, finding ways. I agree in everything you said, and just finding ways to just stay really, really grounded over the next week with some journaling, with some prayer, with some rereading of chapters.
Yes.
I actually think as authors this week, we'll be granted each other like access. I think even maybe like right before actually the book becomes public, we'll have access to each other's chapters. So I'm so excited just to be able to dive in and get to know all of the other authors so much better. And then we have another really exciting event happening in just a couple weeks. It's crazy. Like when you say yes to God, the way that he will move on hyperspeed, it's bonkers. So here in November 22nd, everybody, November 22nd, Christina and I, along with the other authors, we are going to be in New York Times Square, with the book on a billboard. I am so pumped. Words cannot, I know, like both of us are like, how do we even wrap our brains around this? This is so exciting. That, and you've got some special people joining you for that trip. So tell us what you're most excited about for New York, besides the obvious, like the book just again making its way through Times Square. How beautiful is that?
Yes. I am bringing my husband. We are coming from Kansas City all the way to New York with our 22-year-old, our 14-year-old, and then we're meeting our other son and his wife and the baby to be. She's going to be due in March. My son is 28 and he lives in Connecticut. He will be joining us for the launch party on the 22nd. And so we're just really excited to hit the streets of New York, invite people to come to the launch party, invite people to buy the book, and sign some books for people. So
yes,
excited.
I know. Oh, I can't wait to meet your beautiful family. I'm just so excited to be there and to share in that moment with all of us. I'll be bringing Shane, the hubs, coming. So he's so pumped. We were actually even game planning a little bit this morning about like, okay, how do we start like wrapping our brains around this? So we're excited.
Yeah, I don't think my family has any idea they're going along for the ride, and I don't think they can contain our energy. Like that's what I told them. I said, you don't really realize what you're getting ready to walk into, because we are super pumped for God.
We're so excited. Yeah. So so the launch party. So a couple things. Right? So I will include in the show notes just how you guys can get involved in the virtual book launch party so that you get all of the information. I believe that in that virtual link, which is going to be via Facebook group, there's going to be a link for folks to view the actual Times Square billboard scene and all the craziness that's going down there. So I'll include that in the show notes. And then also too, that if you want to join us, if you're local to the New York area, we would local to New York area. That's so ginormous, but I will include the actual information for the launch party where you'll actually be able to meet the authors. I think there's going to be giveaways and book signings, and it's going to be so much fun. And that's all happening on Friday, November 22nd at 5 p.m. Eastern. So come join us. We would love to shake hands or give hugs. I'm a hugger, so I'll give huggers.
Pictures by the sign, on the billboard. I think we're going to be at the Pearl Theater, right, for the lunch party 5 to 7. So, but check out the details, right? So
awesome, so good. Okay, so we're going to be authors. We're going to be facilitating breakout sessions at FounderCon, just the overall partnership with Fit, Impress, the other authors. What is there anything else that kind of stands out about this whole whirlwind of a journey over the last several months?
I think for anybody that's listening, I would just say, pray over where you are today, because I've heard Brittany's story. She has heard mine. It's been quite a journey to get here. We didn't just show up one day and we have it all figured out, and we still don't have it figured out. I think that's what's so beautiful about God, and how he pulls and shows us people in our lives that can help represent him, right? And let us know that we're loved and that we are cared for and that we are enough. So I just encourage you to look at your own life and pray about it and come visit us. We would love to share and love on you, just as you need to see God in your life.
Oh, so good, Christina. I don't have anything to add to that other than to just say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being my co-author, partner in crime. I cannot wait to continue this journey, and I feel so blessed and so grateful that I get to do it with you by my side. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Lock arms.
All right.
Hug.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening to today's episode. It means a world to me that you're here to ride in the struggle bus with me, and that you're willing to consider different perspectives, tools, and techniques that just might provide a little bit of relief and get you one step closer to the abundance that is available and waiting for us all. I hope you take a moment to grant yourself some grace where you've been denying it, some love where you didn't realize maybe it was right in front of you, and some faith where you thought all was lost. If this episode had an impact on you, would you please share a comment with a review? I'd love to hear what landed for you, and it helps us get the word out to our fellow struggle bus riders. So please review what was impactful for you. Just know these episodes are a pure labor of love in a space where I'm growing alongside you. I'm evolving every day, and I look forward to all the ways and the things and the perspectives and opinions and choices that will change over the course of time in my own life, day to day. Until next time, just know that you are loved, you are divinely cared for, and in the struggle, the journey of this life really is beautiful. I'm glad that we're in it together. Cheers.